Welcome to Dr. Jester Talks, and I'm gonna talk about this from Bounding into Comic. New rumor claims to reveal main character for Judge Dredd Mega City 1 TV series. The new rumor claims to reveal the main character will be long gestating Judge Dredd Mega City 1 TV series. I fucking love Judge Dredd. In fact, when I used to live in the UK, I used to buy quite a few comics about that. And I'm gonna have to make a difference here. The UK version of the Judge Dredd is a bit different from the American version of the Judge Dredd comic books. In fact, the UK version is definitely less woke and a bit bloodier than the American version from what I've seen. In fact, the American version of the Judge Dredd went woke quite a bit. For instance, they had a few comics criticizing the American president, and even supporting the violence itself that came out of it. Woke shit. I fucking hate it. The rumor comes after Emre Kaya, at the Vulcan reported Kaya claims the show will adapt Judge Dredd American, and we'll see America. Oh, America Jara! It's the main character, Kaya writes. The main character, the pilot is America Jara. If that is so, then why are you calling it Judge Dredd then? Fuck's sake, why are you doing this? I mean, Judge Dredd, it's kind of... the name itself says it's... it's called Judge Dredd for a reason. Jesus Christ. Just call it America Jara or something. Judge America Jara or something bullshitty like that. But no. He reiterated America Jara being the main character is expected as the show adapts the America storyline. In fact, I'm not even familiar with her, because in none of the comics books that I have of Judge Dredd from the UK version even mentions her. I don't even remember her. Am I going senile? I don't really remember any of her work. Why is she being the one they are going to focus on? Is this some sort of political correctness bullshit? I definitely I don't remember her. Why is she being the one in here? I'm gonna have to research this a little bit. And I definitely don't remember her. I'm looking here at the fandom, and it doesn't even mention the year when she was first announced. It's absurd. Why would they focus on her and not on Judge himself, on the Judge Dredd himself, the main guy that why we buy the comic books, the reason why we loved the movies, and in fact, even I'm going to say that the Judge Dredd, the version of Sylvester Stallone, wasn't that bad. In fact, I kind of enjoyed it. I really liked his work on the movie, but my favorite of all was the Carl Urban movie that came out just recently. In fact, I loved it. It felt more Judge Dredd-y than the Sylvester Stallone movie. Even though I liked the Sylvester Stallone adaptation, but I liked the Carl Urban version a bit more. I don't know, maybe the dystopianness of it was a bit more apparent because they filmed it in South Africa, and South Africa has been going down to the shithole as of late, but I don't know, maybe it's because of that. Oh god. Okay, apparently it came out on 1990, set in the world of Judge Dredd, appeared in Judge Dredd magazine. In 1990, born in Frederick Block, she was the daughter of Puerto Rican immigrants named her American, honor of her new part in the Ian. Oh, of the free, on the land, of the free, on the brave. Even if chances disturbed by the judges as she grew up to become increasingly dissatisfied. Even as distrusted that the judges became increasingly dissatisfied Mega City authoritarian regime. Her first taste of tragedy was when her parents died during the Block Mania. Prequel to the Apocalypse 1, turning into the point of her life, came to achieve peaceful pro-democracy. Oh, I think now I understand why they are focusing on her and not Judge Dredd. When she was 4 months pregnant, the march descended to violence, caused a surge, falling despair. I don't think... I'm gonna admit I never seen her in the comics I own quite a few. Maybe the comic books I've read never focused on her. Maybe she got forgotten at the moment I read about it. I'm gonna admit she is new to me. Having slapped at Beanie, America persuaded him to give her 100,000 credits to fund total war attempt to blow up the Statue of Liberty as a symbol of justice, the part of repression. Of course. That's why they are focusing on Beanie promptly snitched to the judges because he didn't want his money to be used for more than terrorism, and because he wanted America to stop being part of total war. The judges had promised that America would not be harmed, but in the event she was shot in the head by a group of judges led by Judge Dredd, although it wasn't he who fired the fatal shot. In a sense, America's death was just the start of her troubles. Beanie had his brain implanted into her, a still viable body, after begetting a child on her while she was the brain dead of the... Oh, God. That explains why. That explains a lot of reason why they are focusing on this, because apparently, we live in a world that the police are never the good guys. Son of a bitch. Imagine. Oh yeah, that also explains why a lot of the TV shows as of late either got cancelled or pulled out in those TV shows that end up supporting the police officers or paint them in a good light. They got not only attacked by the control left, but they got also pulled out by the TV show, the TV channels on Netflix. Oh, good lord. Let me drink coffee, because quite frankly, I cannot cope with the amount of stupidity that is going on. It's lukewarm, but still good. Let's get back to the article. He reiterated America Jara being the main character is to be expected as the show adapts the American storyline. Oh, the American storyline, not the American storyline. There does appear to be merit to this rumor. Previously released concept art for the show indicated that they were looking at adapting Judge Dredd America. Not only did the concept art indicate it could be adapting Judge Dredd America, but it also hinted at Rob Williams' low-life story. In July 2018, at San Diego Comic-Con 2000 AD, and Judge Dredd owners, Rebellion announced that the pilot script and plot for the first 2 years of the show had been completed by Rob Williams. Rebellion CEO Jason Kingsley stated, "I've read the script by Rob and the team and got the same thrill I did when I first discovered Judge Dredd. As we drive this project forward, I'm always surprised by how much effort goes on behind the scenes to bring something like Mega City 1 to the screen. He added, "I'm very pleased with how the whole project is coming together and looking forward to more exciting announcements in the coming months." Look, the reason I definitely stopped buying comic books was because of how woke it became. The last comic book, as in that it mentions anti-heroes or superheroes, stuff like that. The last one I actually bought, and I keep saying it on a few comic book related videos I've done, was in 2017. It was from Deadpool. It was a major fucking disaster of a comic book. I paid a lot for a couple of pages with a relatively lukewarm drawing and a very shitty story. I read it and I thought, why? Why did I pay this much? I think it was $25 for it. I read it and I thought, why did I pay this much for this piece of shit? And I just couldn't even justify buying it anymore. And since then, I haven't spent a single dime on a superhero and an anti-hero comic book. The only comic book that I ended up spending money on, and that was in 2018 and 2019, was the republishing or reprinting of the Karl Barks Don Rosa comic books from Disney, you know, Donald, Uncle Scrooge type of deal, because of the storylines that was done back in the 70s, 60s, and things like that. The only sad part is that some of them ended up being censored because of how they portrayed the natives in Africa, all the things like that, aboriginals, and stuff like that. And they kind of had to ended up being censored, and I did not like it. But they're still better stories than the current crop that is coming out as of late. And since then, I haven't bought anything else. Because not only is it expensive where I live in this shithole, but I just cannot justify the cost. Because of the stories I have been quite shitty to the point that it makes you wonder who the fuck reads that piece of crap. I mean, it's absurd. I really cannot justify it. The only reason that I will justify buying any superhero comic book today is if it's a reprint from the original and not some disaster that is today, or if it's a reprint, or like I said, a reprint from the original without much change, or it's buying a used comic or some old comic that was printed back in the good old days, and not the disaster that it is today. Anyway, let's get back to the article. Kingsley had previously promised to create a multi-threaded storyline, one of which will be Dredd's, but others which will take us into the wider world of the Mega City 1. As for the Judge Dredd American storyline, it followed two young people, Bennett Beanie and America Jara, and their drastically different experiences with the Justice Department Mega City 1. Bennett goes on to become a famous singer and comedian, while America becomes a democracy movement activist and eventually a total war terrorist. That explains it. There hasn't been much announced of the movement in the show since 2018. However, Dredd actor Carl Urban, who played Judge Dredd in the 2012 film, indicated that the show was still in development and they were working on writing a 10-episode first season. Let me say, I really was not familiar with America Jara or things like that. I haven't read on the comic I own. Maybe the prints in the UK did not have her or something, because the storylines that I bought throughout the years never mention it. Maybe I skipped the issue. I don't know. Don't blame me. Blame the people who printed it. Anyway, however, that Dredd actor, read that. Urban explained the comic book .com by his understanding of where they are in the process is that they are in development. And they are writing and developing a sort of 10-episode based television series called Mega City 1. Oh. Then why do you call it Judge Dredd America? I'm confused. And I told them if they write some great material for Dredd and give him a real purpose and a function, that I would love to come back and be a part of it. So let's see what they do, Urban added. I fucking love Judge Dredd. Urban had previously detailed want to be part of the project while appearing at the Star Trek Las Vegas convention in 2017. He added, I'm in discussion with them about that. I told them if they write the material, give them something to give. Okay, that it's pretty much the same thing, you just wrote it there. In fact, Judge Dredd Mega City 1 producer Brian Jenkins also indicated interest in having Urban on the show. He explained, we have many conversations prior to this about all sorts of things. He is also very busy, a full-time professional actor, so we are going to have some long, uncomplicated conversation, I would imagine. We'll see where it goes. It's too early to tell, but we can see available. And some of the magazines that it mentions Judge Dredd, it's a compilation of various storylines, which includes Judge Dredd and among other characters from Rebellion. It used to be sold, I think it still is by the looks of it, as 2000 AD magazine back in the UK. More recently, Urban has indicated he is still interested in return to the role of Judge Dredd. Okay, you pretty much already said that. That's pretty repeating, giving kind of padding to the article. Why? I don't know when you do that. He told Screen Geek, we are listening very little specifics. There's also pretty great stories. Let Urban continue, and if you get a particular with those guys, you can bet your bottom dollar that will be there, because I think that will be great. Many good comic books. He concluded, so if that happens, that would be fantastic, and for whatever reason, and there are many, if it doesn't happen, then I wish them the best. I can't wait to see what they do. I don't know if I should be optimistic, or I should be dreading this. I don't know. I don't know what to make out of it. Hopefully they don't fuck it up. Or they don't make it current year politics, because if they do, it's gonna fucking suck balls. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you on my next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Good night.